and welcome to Pointed Logic Tarot. I'm finally sitting down to film a video. This month has not been my month, so I missed y'all. I'm actually doing an unboxing today because this arrived today. The only thing I've done is taken the shipping label off, but this is a much anticipated Kickstarter deck for me from last year. It is Ulrich's Mamluk Playing Cards 2nd edition from Trzes art. And I really got into like historic playing cards and the history of tarot after the first edition had come and gone out of print. I think in 2024. I think the first Kickstarter was funded in 2023. And they were out of print by 2024. So I was very excited to have an opportunity to back the 2nd edition. It was a little bit delayed because the printer messed up the initial batch of them, and poor Ulrich had to like send them all back and fight with the printer about it. But it was finally corrected, and they sent fixed copies, and it is now arrived from Germany to here, to the US. So let's crack this open. I'm really excited. Mamluk playing cards are from the 1300s, 1400s, and 1500s, I think. I think this deck is one of the well-known ones, the Tokapi deck. We'll see once we open it, and I can tell you accurate information. But it is from the 1500 approximately, I think. So it's one of the little bit later, better preserved ones from the Mamluk Empire, which is how playing cards entered Europe and became a thing back in the 1300s. Oh, come on now. I was hoping you wouldn't watch me struggle with tape or packages. Okay. Ah, lovely. Oh, wow. Really large size. Stunning box. And wrapped without plastic, which is nice to see. So there's a little bit of history in here, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, circa approximately 1500. This is the 2nd edition. I will put this up here if you want to pause and read it. But I'm going to eagerly digest this. I think it's like the game of Lieutenants or something that this is based on. And this deck is the Topkapi deck. Consists of 48 large playing cards from the museum in Topkapi in Istanbul. 43 of 48 surviving cards. So Ulrich explains sort of the decisions made as far as restoration and reconstruction. And something interesting to note here. The reconstruction doesn't try to faithfully recreate every single element, but rather seeks to reflect the main design ideas in a consistent and authentic way. It is meant to look like the cards the Mamluk people might have produced had they had access to modern technology, such as vector graphic software or modern printing devices. So it's not a facsimile, which I honestly like because I really like restored and reimagined decks. I think this is like a key to explain the suits. Oh, very cool. Oh, very cool. So this identifies to you which ones are cards that were missing that were fully recreated, which ones are type 1 and type 2 and type 3. And then they're also labeled. So we have the suit of polo sticks, the suit of multitudes, which is the cups, the suit of scimitars, and the suit of coins. The scimitars are what evolved into swords, and the polo sticks are what evolved into wands. And this talks about Chinese playing cards. I do have a facsimile deck from a museum of Chinese playing cards. I think I've featured them in my collection video if you want to go back and find them, but they're little bitty, often called stick cards, and have suits of coins, strings of coins, and myriads of coins. And that's sort of like what I think cups became as far as multitude of cups. So that was very much like a money suited playing cards. And then this is evolved from that. The backs are stunning. And the size is really cool. It's long and thin. So we're going to flip through this. And I'm grateful to have the key. Also, I'm just in love with this box. Well done, Ulrich. It's lovely. I'm glad to have the key so that I don't, confuse reversals or something of the cards. Although there might be some very symmetrical ones. But I think not, just because of the frame around them. Oh, and something else I should mention is the quartz are first deputy, second deputy, third deputy, and the king. So let's start here. And this looks like the suit of polo sticks. Yep, so that was the ace. Here's the 2. And I just love the colors. So crisp. And I am interested to use these in a divinatory way, but also to try play games with them. Because, it is a suit up to... Does it go up to 10 or just up to 9? It goes up to 10. So you can play games with these with like a standard playing card deck. You'd have to get good at recognizing them, but with a little bit of practice, I bet you could. Okay, so this is the first deputy, second deputy, third deputy, and king. Very cool. And these are... Here, I'm going to pull the... There are some type 2 cards in here. So this is the first deputy of polo sticks from a type 2 deck, if I'm understanding correctly. So it's almost like some bonus cards here. And this is one of the polo sticks, it just says. Oh, I guess it's the 1. Yeah, so it's another version of the ace. This is a type 1 ace. This is a type 2 ace. In this deck, it's called the 1 of polo sticks. On to the multitudes, which is equivalent to the cups. So this is the ace. See, this one's pretty, I think, probably recognizable to folks. I love the design elements, just like the detail. It's very geometrically appealing. Cardstock is giving me standard smooth stock energy for like a make playing cards. Has just a slight shine. It's definitely very sturdy. It bends quite a bit more because it's just a larger, longer card, but it feels durable. And the 10. All right, so this is the first deputy, the second deputy. This is one of the recreated cards, third deputy, and the king. We don't have any type 2s for the multitudes suit. So next is the scimitars. We're at the 1 of scimitars. And y'all might realize or connect the dots that this is where the influence of the curved swords in a lot of Italian and Marseille decks comes from. Scimitars. You have to let me know if you can hear the spring peepers out of my window. I have the window open because it's just a lovely evening tonight. We finally got into 70 degrees Fahrenheit today after having like sleet and stuff last week. So I always feel a little bit guilty about being excited for warm weather when it comes to the threat of climate change, but I was ready. Cold weather isn't my favorite. Okay. First deputy of scimitars, second deputy, third deputy, and the king. Okay, this is a, let me check the thing. This is a bonus. This is a type 2 card, the 9 of scimitars. And you'll see there's a few differences with the bonus, or with the type 2s. Let's pull out the 9. Compare. So there are some things that are a little bit simplified, and then there's text up at the top here. The flowers are a little bit vinier. There's a bell, it looks like, at the bottom here. So that's really interesting. And I'm hoping this will, yeah, talk about the differences with type 1 and type 2 cards. So I'll talk about that after we finish flipping through. So this is the type 2 9. And this is the type 3 10 of scimitars, which you have even additionally interesting geometric patterns going on down here. All right, we're on to the coins. The 1, 2, 3, 'Kind of want to compare this 8 to the other 8s because this symmetrical design is interesting. Like those are, they're in the 2 here of multitudes. So here's the 8. So it doesn't have it on this 8. It's just interesting what features there are. So let's see here. 10, 9, 8. Yeah. Here's the first deputy, second deputy, third deputy, and the king. And then bonus one here is the third deputy in the type 2. All right, and then these are double-sided backs. Maybe sort of to like put in like this and protect the cards. I am not certain. So likely what I'll do is take out the type 2 and 3 extra cards and put them in the back of the box and then read with them just with the type 1 cards. Let's read a little bit the types. So the type 1 cards, 43 of 48 surviving cards have a design with dense, roundish looking flower patterns and refined suit symbols. Type 2 cards. 4 of the cards in here have simpler suit symbols and long, stretched, leafy flower patterns. Like this. And then type 3 cards. One other card that is quite similar to type 2 but has geometric patterns in the background as well as more abstract looking flower patterns. This card is referred to as type 3, which we saw. Do we see it at the end of the scimitars? Yeah. While the differences between the 3 deck and designs are rather obvious, the differences between the cards of the same deck are not quite so clear. Within type 1, most cards have a design that uses up the whole space of the card, while some cards have a design that leaves space at the top. And then there's some examples of how they looked. And then a little note on pips here. So we'll go back to these type 1 pips. Or not pips. Yeah, quartz. Sorry. Type 1 quartz here. When making a qualified guess about how court cards were distinguished from pip cards in the original type 1 deck, it seems highly plausible that this was reflected by the design of the cards and not only by the inscriptions that may or may not have existed before being painted over. As a result, the designs can be regarded as 1A are the pips, 1B and 1C are designs that are considered court cards. And in the campaign page, which I'll link in the description, Ulrich kind of goes into additional detail on the reasoning behind the design and restoration. So it is a modern recreation, like it said. It's a reconstruction of type 1 cards based on the assumption that the deck originally had 4 courts and contained 56 cards. Because, like I had read at the beginning, it is thought that it's potentially 48 cards instead. Where did it say that? Oh no, so there are 48 surviving cards, 43 of them appear to be type 1. So Ulrich is under the assumption in this restoration, or like reimagining, that there are 56 cards. Titles have been added to the top where all court cards originally had some space above the regular design. So here's an example. And then there was one other thing I wanted to make note of. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you a picture of the evolution of the suits. It was one of my favorite things on the campaign page and on Ulrich's website. So see the evolution of the Chinese money-suited cards to Mamluk cards. Then introduced to Europe, we've got Spanish suits, Italian suits, German suits, Swiss suits, and French suits. And there are some versions of all of these around today to explore. So that's pretty exciting. What would be interesting for me is to look at Marseille and figure out where it fits in this evolution. Because as we know, what we call French suited playing cards are not the suits in Marseille decks. They are much closer to these two. So yeah. And then it says, the link between Mamluk cards and European playing cards can be shown by looking at the Moorish deck, an uncut sheet of simple playing cards from the early 15th century, which is pictured here. This is so cool. I'm just in love with this. So soon I'm going to do a video showing my collection of historic playing cards and tarot, which are playing cards, and go by the century. I'm going to talk about this one as a representation of Mamluk cards, but sort of talk about the lineage of it since it crosses many centuries. This deck itself is estimated to represent around 1500, but Mamluk cards were around, known at least in the 1300s. So let's take out the type 2 and 3 cards really quick and try giving this a shuffle. Oh, there's also, wait, I think I'm spoiled here. Yeah, Ulrich has put green borders around these, which is super helpful. Is that all of them? That makes my figuring that out quite a bit easier. Thank you for doing that, Ulrich. That simplifies it greatly for me. I'm just making sure I'm not misunderstanding anything else as I flip through these here. Oh, there's one. All right, let's see if we can riffle shuffle this. It's definitely cardstock that can be shuffled, but it's a size that is very challenging. I don't know if this deck is still available, especially with the challenges of the print run and the delay after the Kickstarter. But I will link Ulrich's website and Kickstarter campaign, and you should just check it out for some really good playing card history. Okay, that was a sort of. Let's try one more time here. I'm definitely not super good at that. And then how does it if you try and doing it this way? Oh, that's actually maybe the way to go, because you can side shuffle it and just push them together. And then, I mean, they're really long, but you can shuffle them like this. I'm going to pull 3 cards and see if I can tell what they are. I do have my cheat sheet, though, if I need to peek. Okay, scimitars I feel like are a little bit harder. So we have here the 7 of coins, the 8 of scimitars and the 7 of scimitars. Am I close? I think so. Yeah. Okay. I think it's doable. I think I can do it. I got those 3 right anyway. I'll have to think about how I want to read these. I could read them more playing card pips. And when I say playing card, I'm talking like, you know, French suited 52 card deck. Or I could read them more Marseille-ish, which is what I do with my like historic Italian decks, or even like the 1JJ Swiss, even though they're not technically Marseille. Let's see. I think the way that I would read this is that you are working really hard on something and making progress towards that goal. It's a goal that's very tangible. It is a goal that is more than halfway, but you're feeling the unevenness of the 7 and are not certain where to go next. I would say that the 8 of scimitars here is giving me, especially in the middle here, like obstacle vibes. You know, 8 scimitars is a lot to get through and would be especially challenging to navigate. And the advice is you need to find, rather than a path through or around, a path in. And that path in may require some strategic thinking and even a little trial and error on your part. But it's worth taking a pause here and solving this problem and obstacle rather than just trying to ignore it and continue to shove your way forward, because that will have you off balance and will delay the reaching your end goal. So I think that's how I would read these. Let me know how you might read them and your thoughts, and if you would play a game with them. I think what I might do is try playing solitaire with them to get to know them better. And by solitaire, there's a ton of great solitaire games, but maybe like something simple like Klondike Solitaire or Joker Jailbreak. And I could use I just would need one of these cards to represent the Joker in the jail. But I would probably keep all 3 deputies and king in. All 3 deputies and the king in for each suit. Because I think they will be something I'll be able to read eventually. Something that's kind of a nice touch is, let's find some of the deputies here. Yeah, so I'm thinking that this is the 2 of deputies because it has 2 scimitars. No, I'm wrong. This is the king. Okay, I am going to have to work at this. Do all the kings have this nice little box? Yeah, okay, so these are kings. And this is the 3rd deputy, which I'm not really sure how to tell the difference between the 3rd and the 1st deputy. Because in the coins, it's really easy because like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd deputies all have 1, 2, and 3 coins. So Yeah, that's going to take a little bit of practice. But the quartz do have a different color border. And the other types, which I've taken out and set aside here, but we'll still, you know, do some looking into and some reading about, are yet another border to help differentiate, which is nice. So yes, this is Mamluk playing cards, the tough copy deck from Trzes art by Ulrich. Do I have Ulrich's last name somewhere? I don't know. I'll have to look and see if it's on the website. I'll put Ulrich's full name on the screen, and again, link Ulrich's website and Kickstarter campaign below. Yeah, this is a really cool deck. I am super excited to play with it, read with it, appreciate it, read about it. I hope you enjoyed this quick flip through, and take care.